Welcome into another episode of Locked On Phillies. The Phils win their fifth straight game. Trea Turner's on an absolute heater. We talk about the season he's putting together on today's episode.
You are Locked On Phillies, your daily Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, this is Locked On Phillies. I'm your host, Connor Thomas. Thank you so much for joining us today. We come to you as part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You may know me from some of my other work in the sports talk space. I've been on air over at 97.5 The Fanatic doing sports talk radio here in Philadelphia. I've been a credentialed Philadelphia Phillies media member for 4 seasons. This is now my 4th year as the host of Locked On Phillies. Please make sure, if you're checking us out in podcast form, which we're available wherever you get your podcasts, literally, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a rating and a review. I would appreciate that very much. And also, if you're checking us out on YouTube, you can watch the podcast on YouTube. Well, hit that subscribe button. It'll get you notifications when new episodes are posted. That way, you're never going to miss anything. It's free and easy, and it really helps us out. And you're going to want to be zoned in on the Phillies right now because they're on an absolute heater. They've won 5 straight games. Yeah, it's the Marlins. I know, whatever. Still, you'll take them anytime you can get them. Remember, this team got swept by the Pirates, so wins are wins. We've learned that lesson the hard way over this Phillies season. A 5-2 victory last night. Felt comfortable. Got a little tight at the end, but, I mean, honestly, you never really got the feeling they were losing this game, or at least I didn't. We're going to talk about Trea Turner, as well as just a recap of last night's game in the first part of the episode. And then Mick Abel got yanked a little early, 77 pitches, 5 innings worth of work. We're going to talk about why that could be, because some people were questioning Rob Thomson's strategy there. And then we're going to look ahead to game 2 as the Phillies look to keep this winning streak rolling with the Mets in the near future. Not that we're there yet. Still 3 more games down in Miami. But it was a nice game last night. A 5-2 victory. Abel gave you a good start. Nice little bounce back after getting hit around a little bit by the Cubs. You love to see that from him. We're going to talk more in depth about why he got pulled from the start when he did. He ran into a little trouble in the second inning, but kid battled. He doesn't really seem like he's unnerved by anything. He seems very low heart rate, just like every Phillies pitcher does. I mean, if you took the combined resting heart rate of the Philadelphia Phillies starting rotation, it might equal the combined the regular resting heart rate of a normal person. They just don't really, show emotion or get thrown off by anything. It's part of the reason why they're so good at what they do. And the Phillies offense got the job done. It was mostly Trea Turner last night, and he had 2 RBIs. He went 3 for 5. He had a homer to lead off the game, and from that point, you kind of felt like, okay, Phillies have this one in control. This is going to be a fun series down in Miami. Now, you can win one game and have trouble the rest of the series, so still work to be done. But Turner really set the tone in the leadoff spot. Alec Bohm had a really nice night as well. 2 for 5, 2 ribbies for him. Eventually, we're going to do the Alec Bohm episode where we give him a full segment's worth of time to talk about the turnaround he's had on his year. But I want to talk a little bit more about Turner here. And then Max Kepler went yard. He's starting to show a little bit of pop. You look at the past week's worth of games, guy looks pretty good. Now, you're supposed to have a starting left fielder that gives you more than just a good week and then 2 or 3 weeks. But I'm not here to complain, right? The Phillies have won 5 straight. They won 5-2. They're rolling right now. The lead in the division for the Mets is cut down to 2 games even. You can make that up in one series if you want to. And, hey, guess what? They've got that opportunity. So the Phils are in a really, really good spot when it comes to where they're at with the pitching staff. And the offense is starting to settle in a little bit. No Bryce Harper back yet. We'll see when he comes back. He was supposed to make the trip to Miami, then didn't. Maybe he shows up partway through the series. I don't know what's going on with Bryce. I don't really have an update for you on that. But it sounds like his comeback date is still uncertain. So depending on if we get real information on that later in the week, we will talk about that more in depth when we know. But what we do know is Trea Turner is leading the National League in hits right now. And he is not getting enough credit for the season he's putting together. Now, I get it because Trea Turner has 2 things working against him. One, his first impression here in Philadelphia sucked. It did. His first year in Philly, he was not good. You know the story, the standing ovation, the Emmy nomination or whatever they got, I think, for that documentary, that mini documentary about the turnaround. Yeah, there's been a movie made about Trea Turner's first year and how it was not good, and then what the fan base did. By the way, there is audio from, I think it's from this podcast. It may be from radio stuff that I did, but I'm pretty sure it's from this podcast that was used in that. And now it's won an Emmy. So congratulations to the Locked On Phillies family, you for listening to everything and what you do to help me with this podcast by consuming it. We may be like fringe technical kind of Emmy contributing winners almost. So we're going to hang that up. Emmy winning by proxy podcast, Locked On Phillies. But all of this is besides the point. Trea Turner, though, he had a rough start to his Phillies tenure. And when you have a bad first impression, that's what people cling to, right? He's going to be the guy that didn't live up to the contract that first year, and that's going to follow him for his entire time in Philadelphia, fair or not, unless he does something miraculous, like MVP caliber stuff, or the Phillies win the World Series and he's big in the postseason and everything. Like, he'll need something major to wipe that away. And the other thing that people hold against Trea Turner is he's not good defensively. We get it. He's not a great shortstop fielding the ball. He makes some really bad errors sometimes. I think it's overstated this year, but that's another thing that's part of the reputation for Trea Turner. Tough start here in Philly. Doesn't play a great defensive shortstop compared to some of the top defenders in the game, and the paycheck will be held against him. So I guess maybe that's 3 is just like the amount he's getting paid. You're always under more scrutiny. But remember why Trea Turner came here, right? He did not come here to play a gold glove shortstop. No, he came here to add balance to a lineup that had home run, home run, home run written all over it. And while the Phillies haven't really been a home run heavy team to this point this year, they were a team in the past that lived on the long ball. They still may be that type of team at points this season as we continue to progress towards the halfway point. Still a lot of baseball to be played. But he was here to balance out the lineup and get you a guy that's going to hit 300 in his sleep. He's going to steal 30-plus bags. He's going to create havoc on the base pass, even when he's not stealing bags. He's going to be a beneficial part to balance out this lineup, and he can be a major table setter at the top. That was the selling point on Trea Turner. And this year, he's been exactly that. I mean, think of the names in the National League that you're looking at. Freeman, Ohtani, Betts, Riley, Machado, Olsen, Acuna, and I know Acuna was hurt to start the year and stuff like that, but Soto, Lindor, all of these great hitters in the National League, and Trea Turner has more hits than all of them. He is leading the National League in hits. Like, that's a momentous accomplishment. Now, it's not through the entire year, and he's going to have to keep this up, but you've got the best contact hitter in the National League on your team right now, and we're just kind of going, that's Trea Turner. Yeah, he still can't field the baseball that well. Yeah, but he's not playing up to the contract. No, he is. He's been the best player on the Phillies this year consistently since Kyle Schwarber's dropped off. I know we all love the home run. We all love Schwarber, but I'm picking Trea Turner right now. If you had to ask me who's had the best season to this point, I'm going with Trea Turner over Kyle Schwarber. He has been that good, and he's been doing it over the course of the entire year. And that's a really big part of this. Now, Trea Turner needs to do this in the postseason. And I'm not saying like that right now to say, oh, well, I don't care what he's doing now. Do it in October. It's not like I don't care about this. It's just, hey, you see how much this helps the team when he is this guy. Shows a little bit of pop. Gets on base for the big boppers in the middle of the lineup, especially when Harper comes back. Finds a way to steal bags, to create opportunities on the base path, to find runs where otherwise you would not have found them. Like, if you get this in October and add that to this lineup, they've got a piece that I have not had in the past. He has not been that guy in October for this team in his 2 opportunities. So I feel really damn good about this baseball team when Trea Turner is going the way that he is right now. He's a bona fide superstar when he's at his best. And right now, you're seeing bona fide superstar Trea Turner. And I think if you ask Phillies fans right now, hey, is Trea Turner playing at a superstar level? I think he'd be saying no. I think a good amount of this fan base would be like, nah, he's good, but superstar? Are you kidding me? But look at the numbers, folks. Watch him play. He's doing a really, really great thing for the Phillies this year. And if this keeps up, I mean, we're going to have some apologies to issue from this fan base about things that have been said about Trea Turner and the contract and everything that surrounds that, right? He's very, very important to this team. And he adds another dimension that they did not have prior to signing him. And frankly, they didn't have the first year that he signed, and they didn't have it for part of last year with him here, even though he did end up putting up some solid numbers last year that were more on par with what he's doing. He's having a resurgent season, his first big one in Philadelphia. And while there's still a long way to go, he's a big piece of this puzzle. So credit to Trey. I've loved what he's tried to do as far as kind of not really shortening the swing, but just not trying to lift the ball as much, not trying to do too much with certain pitches. Like when he gets a mistake, he's not trying to lift the baseball. He's not trying to hit the ball out of the yard. You might say, Connor, he went yard first at bat yesterday to lead off the game for the Phillies. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I got you. But he doesn't have the home run swing, right? He has the consistent level swing that is creating opportunities to get on base. And if he runs into a couple, he'll hit them out of the yard too. I can't say enough good things about what Trea Turner's doing right now for this baseball team. He's a guy that you really need to have your eye on as far as, hey, is he going to be a huge part of why the Phillies go where they go this year? I think the answer right now to that is yes. And again, no bigger praise can I give him than saying he's been the most consistent player for the Philadelphia Phillies on the offensive side so far this season. And that includes Kyle Schwarber, who seems like he's trying to come out of that slump he was in end of May, early June. Coming up next, a guy with not nearly the resume of Trea Turner, right? Mick Abel, he just made his fourth ever start at the major league level. He only threw 5 innings. He threw 77 pitches. And some people are like, why in the world was he out of the game that early? Rob Thomson was asked about it after. He had a good explanation, and there's more to it that I don't even think Rob Thomson got into. So we'll talk about Mick Abel coming up next as we continue today's episode. But let's talk about Supply House first, because they're the best. You can get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades with Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website, it's packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, they got a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts, not 200 parts, not 20,000 parts. No, 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands. You're going to find exactly what you need. If you can't find it, it doesn't exist. And it's delivered fast from coast to coast. And if you need help with an order, it happens from time to time, even the best places. Well, there's an issue here or there. Well, that's why Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service. So you're always going to talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, why wouldn't you be? Their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. You're behind if you're not doing it. Now it's your turn. Go ahead and become a Trade Master. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 and you'll get 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Again, go ahead and check them out. Supplyhouse.com. So this Mick Abel thing is interesting from last night's game. He goes 5 innings. And outside of the second inning, he was really solid. Even that, like he had 1 walk. He only struck out 3, so the strikeout stuff wasn't really working for him. He gave up 3 hits. He gave up 1 earned. That's a really solid day. He got the win. He's 2-0 in his major league career. And you say, okay, he only threw 77 pitches. Why was he yanked against the Marlins, a lineup that you don't really worry about getting to him, right? You saw what he did against the Pirates, went 6 full against the Pirates in his major league debut. What's the deal with Mick Abel getting yanked there? A lot of people were asking. Rob Thomson answered. So he's going to throw on 4 days rest because he's throwing against the Mets. So that's going to be a quick turnaround. He has not done that at the major league level yet. That was Rob Thomson's big point after the game, was like, hey, we don't want to overexpose him because sure, you want to win the game against the Marlins. You don't want to burn out the bullpen, but probably we feel like we could beat this team. I'm speaking for Rob Thomson, but they know they could beat the Marlins. Got him through 5. Okay, kid, shake my hand. Give me the baseball. Go sit down. Rest yourself up. Because starting pitching is infinitely more important, right? You want to keep these guys fresh, especially with a huge series against the Mets coming up. You don't want to burn out the bullpen, but you got to imagine there's going to be a game or two in this Marlins series where the offense just tanks somebody. and you're looking at an 8-1 score in the 5th or 6th inning, and you say, okay, I got a guy at 75, 80 pitches, but let's get him out of here, and we can throw low-leverage bullpen arms and get those guys out there and save guys who threw last night, like Matt Strahm and Jordan Romano and Orion Kirkring. By the way, Kirkring, first career save. Is he the new closer for the Phillies? Maybe. We might have seen a shift there. If we see it again, we'll talk about it a little bit more detail, but one instance is not enough for me to talk about a trend. But back to Abel. So that's the main reason that Rob Thomson pointed out. He's throwing on shorter rest than he has. But there's more to this. His innings count is something to keep an eye on. They did not plan on having Mick Abel up this much, but Aaron Nola has had all these setbacks since he went on the injured list. I keep saying, Aaron Nola's in parts unknown. Anyone ask me about an Aaron Nola update, I don't know what to tell you, folks. He's not here with the team. He's hurt, ribs, ankle, sick, something. I don't know. But I don't think they were planning on having Mick Abel up this early and making this many starts in the year, if they were planning on having him up at all. So you got to be careful. He's at 77 some innings, something in the mid-70s in innings so far this year between minors and majors. For anyone who says, well, I'm only looking at the majors. That's not how arms work. If I throw 140 pitches on Saturday for a men's league team, and then I show up to a game on Sunday and they expect me to throw in another men's league, like they might not care, like, oh, you threw for another team, we didn't see you throw, but my arm still feels bad. Like, you got to count those innings. His career high in innings is like 113. So you're already kind of inching up on that, and we are in mid-June. Abel might be a big part of this puzzle. So you got to be cautious with the amount of innings. You don't want to overexert him. You want to keep him fresh for the Mets series. And the other thing, because I've heard an argument, well, you don't want to tax the bullpen. You're taxing your bullpen. You're losing these guys. You got to have them. They're important pieces. Strahm, Romano, Kirkring. Very important parts of the bullpen. The bullpen's a weak spot. You don't want to leave them thin. Well, guess what? Where do you think Mick Abel finds himself at the end of the year? Because you have Jesus Luzardo and Ranger Suarez and Christopher Sanchez. I feel like there's one other guy. Zach Wheeler, the best pitcher on the face of the planet, in my opinion. 4 dudes, 4 spots to start in the postseason. Mick Abel's on the outside looking in. Now, does that mean that they're just going to send him back down and say your season's over? I don't think so, especially with a plus fastball that would play up out of the bullpen. So your whole save the bullpen, saving Mick Abel is potentially saving the bullpen. He could throw out of the pen in October. Now, I'm not ready to say like, oh, he's a bona fide piece of this bullpen. He can make that transition easy. It's not as simple just to say that. But you can't just burn this guy out in the regular season and say, okay, well, you did your job. You gave us starts. Now you sit down. You're not part of the postseason plan. Like, if he continues to throw like this, he is part of the postseason plan. It just doesn't seem like there's going to be a spot for him in the rotation. So you want to keep that innings count down because you don't want to lose an arm like Mick Abel. And he's still a young guy, right? He is a rookie. He just made his 4th career start at the major league level. So you want to do right by the player. This is not just burn a dude out. It's progression. Like, look at Christopher Sanchez, right? Last year was a career high in innings for him. This year, he'll probably surpass that. Previous to, they had worked him out of the bullpen. They had used him in like some split roles and everything. Like Christopher Sanchez, who we all count on now, is like this guy who's a middle of the rotation here, but a top side arm. He had to work his way up, as did every other guy. Like, he was just the first one that came to mind because he's the most recent, I guess, call up for the Phillies when it comes to their rotation or their pitching staff. Maybe Ranger was more there about the same time. No, I think Ranger was up before him. Either way, like, this is the natural progression. As much as you want to win games, you can't over push that. And you're definitely not going to over push that against the Marlins in June in a game that they won and only gave up 2 runs. So anyone who's up in arms about, oh, what is Rob Thomson doing? What are the Phillies doing by pulling Mick Abel? Let the kid throw. It's not that simple. And for anyone saying, oh, today's ball players are soft. Back in the day, Cy Young would pitch every game. All right. I get it. You're probably watching this on like, I don't know, one of those big box TVs somehow, or you may be listening to this hooked up to some old transistor radio if you're thinking things that way. That's the past. Current day, Pitchers' arms, very valuable, very protected. All they're doing is trying to keep Mick Abel fresh. It did not hurt them. There is no downside to it as far as yesterday's game is concerned. In the future, there may be. So I reserve my right to say, hey, they yanked Abel early from this game. He should have gone. But yesterday, with the results that they got, a win, their fifth straight, a big series coming up this weekend, a lesser opponent right now, it's just not that big of a deal to me. So if anyone was overly worried about that, don't be. Do I think the Phillies did the right thing? I don't know. I can't definitively say, but what I will say is it seems like they have a plan to protect him. And if that's the idea, I'm very comfortable with that, within reason. All things can go too far. Too much of a good thing, it's a reality for just about everything in life. So you got to have some nuance to it, but I had no issue with it yesterday. Now tonight, you're going to be hard-pressed to take the ball from Jesus Luzardo, who's on the mound. Yeah, we're talking some revenge coming up next as we wrap up today's episode of Locked On Phillies. Let's talk about open phone, because if you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had a service emergency. Let's say you're having an issue with the pipes, right? Like pipe bursts in your house. What do? You get on the phone, you call a plumber. Say, okay, well, I know this guy, or I looked this one up online, and it's a local plumber in your area. Who's the phone number? Ring, ring, ring. Answering machine. Are you leaving a message saying, call me back when you get a chance? Burst pipe, water flowing out into your home? Are you saying, forget this guy, I'm calling another plumber, calling the next person that you see in the yellow pages? Not that people use yellow pages anymore. The point is this. You're calling the next person if there's not a reliable business line. And it's super important. That's why you need Open Phone. They're the #1 business phone system that helps you streamline and scale customer communication, all from an app on your phone or computer. Maybe you used to juggle 2 phones just to keep business and personal calls separate. Well, Open Phone has solved that instantly. Your whole team can share one number and respond to customers like a shared inbox. No more who's handling this or the back and forth. And the AI agent even handles after-hour calls, answers common questions, captures leads so that you never miss a customer again. Open Phone is also doing this for you. They're offering Locked On Phillies listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/lockedonmlb. That's OPENPHONE, openphone.com/lockedonmlb. And if you have existing numbers with another service, Open Phone will even port them over at no extra charge. Open Phone. No missed calls, no missed customers. You got to check them out. Phil's Marlins game 2 tonight. Little programming note, 6:10 p.m. first pitch. You might ask, well, why in the world have they moved it up a little bit? Because the Stanley Cup Finals are down there in Sunrise, which is relatively close to where the Miami Marlins play. The Florida Panthers play out of Miami. And the Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals is down there. The Florida Panthers have a chance to clinch. Go ahead and check out our Locked On NHL channels and the coverage of all of that. If you're into the hockey, you want to hear some puck talk. But the important thing is they, for Phillies fans, they bumped up the game a little bit to make sure that everybody's there and it doesn't mess with the traffic. So 6:10 p.m. first pitch, Jesus Luzardo on the mound. This is his first time this year facing the team that traded him away this offseason. Not only did they trade him away, they traded him away in division. They basically said, we're okay with you going to a division rival. Now, part of that is just the Marlins. It's not like the Mets did it. It's not like the Braves did it. Competitive teams in the division that are like worried about how does this hurt our contention? Like the Marlins were not contenders when they traded away Jesus Luzardo, but still, I'd feel a certain type of way if a team said, yeah, we're moving on from you. We're trading you. We're comfortable with letting you go. Whatever leads to that, whether it was concerns about injuries or whether it was contention window, either way, I guarantee you, Jesus Luzardo has had this start circled on his calendar. He's been counting it out. He's like, okay, the way the rotation breaks down, it seems like I'm going to throw in Miami against that team that was okay with letting me go. And he just had a nice bounce back start. So not only is he out for revenge, but he's probably feeling good about the way he threw the ball against the, who was he against? The Cubs. That's right. He had a nice, comfortable performance against the Cubs where he looked like a Cy Young caliber guy. Cy Young. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. He won't with his numbers anymore, but yeah, I guess that level of pitcher, we'll say all-star caliber pitcher right now. He's still got to kind of earn his way back into that conversation as far as quality. And I think those 2 starts might have screwed his numbers for the chance of winning a Cy Young this year, but still, he threw like that kind of guy against the Cubs. And now you get a lesser Marlins lineup that he should dominate. With that added factor of like the motivation, it's not going to be a 77-pitch outing unless something goes horribly wrong for Jesus Luzardo tonight. I expect him to fight Rob Thomson the second he tries and pull him out of this game if he's throwing the way I expect him to. So that's good for the Philadelphia Phillies to have. You like to see the motivation. And honestly, I'm pulling for Luzardo so hard in this game because of that, the motivation and the personal aspect of it, facing that team that gave you up. Cal Quantrill's on the mound for Miami. He's got a 5.61 ERA. He's 3-7 this year, 1.5 whip. I mean, he's just not all that good. A 59 1/3 inning pitch with 46 strikeout line is telling you he's not a huge strikeout guy. In just under 60 innings, he's given up 70 hits. Now, he's not really a big home run guy. You're not really going to go deep off of him. He's only given up 8, like Luzardo's given up 6. So that's not a crazy amount. He doesn't walk a lot of guys. He's only walked 19. But he's just going to be around the zone, and people are going to put the ball in play off of him, which is a good sign for the Phillies offense that has been really, really heating up lately. Another righty. So keep an eye on some lefties. Maybe this is a good opportunity for Schwarber to go yard. I got a good feeling Schwarber hits one out of the ballpark tonight down there in Miami. I think that's good. And Kepler went yard last night. Maybe he stays hot seeing another righty. They'll both be in the lineup. A thing to look for in tonight's game with the lineup. Bryson Stott took a weird swing late in last night's game, and he looked like he kind of hyperextended his elbow. Now, he was injured on a swing last year. I believe it was also in Miami, and it was kind of the same thing where it's like a swing and a miss and something, you feel something pop or something turn over a little bit in your elbow. If you've ever hyperextended your elbow, you know it kind of feels like you're straining something, and that could be a very disconcerting feeling for a ball player, especially a guy like Bryson Stott, because he hits lefty, but he throws righty. So that top arm that seemed like he hurt on that lefty swing, that's his throwing arm. You don't want to have elbow issues on your throwing arm, even if he's just playing second base and that's a short throw. So maybe he's out there, maybe he's not. I haven't seen anything about whether or not Stott will be available, but that's something to keep an eye on. If he's not, it'll be Sosa at second base, I'd imagine. And then Otto Kemp would probably remain at first and Alec Boehm at third. But something to keep it, because I want to see Stott be able to face righties. I want to see him get out of this bad stretch he's been in. But if his elbow's bothering him, he may get a day. But I don't really know what there is to say much more about this matchup in this series. The Phillies are facing, they saw Alcantara last night. They didn't really crush Alcantara, but they did enough. He had a 7+ ERA. Cal Quantrill's got a 5+ ERA. No pitcher announced for tomorrow for the Miami Marlins, Ranger on the mound. Cabrera's going to throw with a 4.1 ERA on Thursday. You're probably not going to face somebody with below a 4 ERA in this series. You should cook this team night in and night out. And, I mean, you saw 2 home runs last night. You saw good clutch timely hitting by Alec Boehm. And another guy I'm going to be looking for tonight? This is another developing story. And I said we're going to have to talk about Alec Boehm at some point because he's been tearing the cover off the ball. Brandon Marsh has started to come around a little bit. Now, is this just he always seems to have, and this is the tantalizing part of Brandon Marsh for me, and this is why people crush me for him, for talking him up. But there's always this 3 to 4 week stretch of a season where the guy puts up really, really good numbers, and even better, when you get into the barrel percentage and exit velocity and stuff, which I'm not a big believer in that as far as diving into the deeper analytics of all of the extra stats, the sabermetric stuff. But a lot of those numbers in small stretches and seasons point to him being this really good hitter. And we may be entering one of those stretches now. Now, will that help him in the postseason? I don't know. Should it restrict the Phillies from getting another center fielder at the deadline? Definitely not. But keep a side eye on Brandon Marsh as he continues to create opportunities offensively. It's good to see. The more Phillies hitting, the better. Seems like a simple thing, but there's no need, even if you're not a big Marsh guy or gal, to root against the player on the Phillies. He's kind of on breakout watch. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. But the Phils are red hot. Everything's good in Phillies land. Hopefully they can go get a win tonight. And we'll be talking about 6 straight victories tomorrow. But that's all for today's episode. Thank you again for joining us. Once again, we're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Please make sure you're rating, reviewing, hitting that subscribe button on the YouTube, all of that great stuff. That really helps us out here on Locked On Phillies. And I'm going to talk to you tomorrow on the next episode of Locked On Phillies.